I want to invite one of our parishioners, Angela Kwasnik, who has made a contribution to our campaign to share some of her inspirational words for us to help us to feel similarly inspired.
Good morning. As Father said, I'm Angela Kwasnik. I'm a cradle Catholic. I'm a transplant from another state. I didn't grow up here, so I wasn't privileged to be part of a cathedral or a parish of this size. In fact, my parish is unfortunately closed, so I can't even go visit it. And I don't want that to happen to this parish, which I don't think we're anywhere near jeopardy of that happening. But I've been here for 24 years as a parishioner. And during those 24 years, I raised 2 children. We always came to Mass, and otherwise we went about our way and about our lives and lived them not outside of the church, but not overly connected to the church on a daily basis. But somewhere between 2015 and 2020, I experienced a series of physical, emotional, and spiritual events which led me gently back to the confessional. I hadn't been in those 20 years very often, and at that moment I hadn't been to confession in years. So I was extremely nervous. Am I going to remember how to do this? What's going to happen? Are the walls going to fall down around me when I walk into that confessional? The line was very long that day. My legs were shaking. I thought about chickening out, but through the grace of God, I didn't. And thank goodness I didn't. I walked in, I knelt down, and confessed my sins, and then I waited. I waited for the pummeling, to be chastised. But that's not what happened. What I heard from Father Edward that day was, "Welcome back." It was, welcome back. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't say I missed Mass. I didn't say I wasn't, enjoying my faith. But I realized in that moment that I was broken, and this was God, through Father Edward, telling me it's okay. I will repair you. I will fix your soul. I will refresh it and renew it and give you new life and grace. And after I left that day, I have been on a journey of deepening my faith, because I've been so grateful for that moment, for God to welcome me back into his graces. And now I actually look forward to going to confession. My children still don't quite understand that, but it's a journey for them as well. And so fast forward to the fall, when Father invited some of us to understand a little more about what's happening to the facilities that we all enjoy. And I took him up on it, and I listened to what he had to say. And a few things really stood out for me, because I thought maybe this is a way I can thank God, I can thank you as parishioners, and maybe even Father Christie, for the warmth and the community that we have here by contributing a little bit. But I wasn't quite there. But a few things that he said really struck me. One was the breezeway I walk through every Sunday. The breezeway that my daughter, when she went to kindergarten here, and went to CCD throughout grade school, or my son, who walked through it nearly every day of his life from kindergarten through 8th grade as a student of St. Francis. It struck me. The breezeway looks fine to me. Apparently, structurally, something is going on, and it's pulling away from the buildings. So even though it's safe to go through today, it won't be at some point in the future. So to me, that's not a nice to have. To me, that's a must have. That's something that has to be fixed before something happens. The other thing that struck me was, my daughter reminded me that my father-in-law, when my son was in grade school here, started coming to daily Mass. He also would drop off his wife, my mother-in-law, at our house to hang out, and he would come to adoration. And what's interesting about that is he's not a parishioner of St. Francis. He's a parishioner from another town, from parish in another town. But he was so drawn to this community and to this parish that he would come here. He would drive out of his way to come here. So the next thing that Father talked about was the sinking plaza out front. And I thought of my father-in-law, who now in his current state couldn't manage to walk up those steps. He wouldn't be able to navigate that. So yes, the sinking plaza has to be fixed. But the interesting thing was, in Father's vision, was not to just fix it, not to just repair it, but to refresh and renew it. He has a vision of how he can make it more accessible to people, someone like my father-in-law, or to others, by changing the grading, by putting in a wide, nice walkway so that it could wind into the church, and people who do have accessibility issues could make it into church. But also, it struck me, by looking at the plans, the whole facade of the front of the school, that area would change as well. It becomes more welcoming and more inviting. And you can also see the new atrium from the front. So it also says not just to us as parishioners that we've invested in our church and in God and his love for us, but it's also, to me, would be a new beacon to the rest of the community to show them how much we love our church, that in spite of everything going on in the world today, that we are refreshing and renewing, not just repairing. Maybe it will become a new beacon to our community and to others who might not have thought about coming in here before, but maybe they will when they see how much we love our parish and are willing to make those changes and refresh and renew, just like that day I felt when Father said to me, "Welcome back, Angela. Welcome back to the church. Welcome back to the sacrament of reconciliation," much like I feel like this renewal and this rebuilding of our church exemplifies. So, as Father said, I made a contribution. I can't give everything that I would like to give in a year, but I've spread those payments out over 5 years so that I can contribute. I can help repair, refresh, and renew the facilities that we all enjoy on a weekly and daily basis. So I would like to invite you as well to pray about it, to think about it. Is there something you can do also to help us with this campaign to refresh and renew our parish? Thank you.